Gravitas cuts out the clutter. Gravitas keeps calm when others scream. Gravitas brings news to life. Weekdays 9 p.m. IST, 3:30 p.m. GMT. Gravitas. Seeing is believing.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
You're watching Gravitas with me, Molly Gambhir. Let's get started. Our top story tonight on Gravitas is about AI. Can China's AI destroy American tech? We decode the implications of DeepSeek. We tell you why everyone seems to be talking about it and what it could mean for the US, China, and the AI race. And here's a look at what else is lined up for you on the show tonight. We tell you all about Russia's major drone attack on Ukraine and what's happening on the ground. As Gazans return home to rubble and destruction, heart-wrenching images have come to light. As Donald Trump says, they need to immediately develop indigenous Iron Dome shield to protect Americans. We get you the implications. All this and more coming up.
DeepSeek AI from the Chinese company should be a wake-up call.
Can China's AI destroy American tech? And there's one simple answer to why that question is being asked, and that answer is called DeepSeek. You must have heard about it by now. China's DeepSeek has unveiled an artificial intelligence model that is reportedly as advanced as Silicon Valley's models, but at a fraction of the cost. And this has impacted global markets, raised concerns about AI regulation, security risks, and geopolitical consequences. Let's just break this all down for you bit by bit. As per reports, China's approach to AI innovation operates under a veil of secrecy, raising questions if DeepSeek's technology is solely for civilian purposes or is there more to it? Now, similar to other AI apps, DeepSeek's innovation reportedly brings new risks to the forefront. As per reports, the model has security flaws making it vulnerable to misuse. It could be reportedly exploited to develop ransomware, fabricate sensitive content, and even provide instructions for creating toxins or explosive devices. Yes, explosive devices. Can such capabilities, if unregulated, pose a threat to countries? Without stringent regulations, the world could reportedly face unintended and catastrophic consequences, from cyber attacks to the misuse of autonomous systems in warfare. Now, both the US and China have invested hundreds of billions into AI development. Just for context here, US President Donald Trump on Tuesday talked about a joint venture investing up to $500 billion for infrastructure tied to AI, in a new partnership formed with OpenAI, Oracle, and SoftBank. According to the White House, the new entity, Stargate, will start building out data centers and the electricity generation needed for the further development of AI. The initial investment is expected to be $100 billion and could reach 5 times that sum. In contrast, DeepSeek says it has been able to develop the AI model, and researchers behind it claim it cost them $6 million. Quite a difference. Meanwhile, the fallout from DeepSeek's announcement has been swift, also severe. US tech stocks experienced a historic sell-off. The Nasdaq Composite plunged by 3.1%, while AI-linked stocks suffered staggering losses. Nvidia fell by 17%, Broadcom by 17%, Oracle by 14%, more than $1 trillion wiped from the global market in a single day. This development basically challenges the assumption that dominating the AI industry requires billions in investment. And also, what caused this? As per reports, DeepSeek's open source model is 20 to 40 times cheaper than those from US tech leaders like OpenAI, signaling a shift in the dynamics of innovation and cost efficiency, raising questions over whether China will topple US AI tech dominance. For decades, the US has been the global leader in AI research and deployment in a way. However, DeepSeek's emergence highlights just how quickly this so-called dominance could erode. By leveraging cost-effective innovation, China is reportedly positioning itself to challenge Silicon Valley's supremacy. And this raises a critical question. Can US tech companies innovate fast enough? Or is this actually the beginning of a new era in global tech leadership? The stakes, you see, are not just economic but also geopolitical. A shift in AI dominance could redefine power structures between the US and China, with implications for national security, international relations. As per reports, the rise of DeepSeek also serves as a wake-up call for American tech leaders and policymakers. A fact also acknowledged by US President Donald Trump.
The release of DeepSeek AI from a Chinese company should be a wake-up call for our industries that we need to be laser focused on competing to win, because we have the greatest scientists in the world. Even Chinese leadership told me that. They said.
So again, can Silicon Valley respond fast enough? Because the emergence of DeepSeek underscores the intensifying AI race between the US and China. Beyond the economic and geopolitical implications also lies the big question of global safety. Can the world establish clear regulations to prevent the misuse of AI? And will America adapt in time to counter China's rapid rise? The stakes could not be higher, and the consequences could very much shape the future in multiple ways. And our next story is about Ukraine. Overnight, Russia attacked the war-battered country with the fury of 100 attack drones. And such was the intensity of the attack that it was felt across 7 regions of Ukraine. Ukraine says it destroyed over half of them and reported that the rest disappeared from radar. It started on the 27th of January, that's last night. The Russians are said to have launched 100 Shahed-type attack UAVs. Various types of decoy drones were also fired. These drones were launched, from what we understand and what has been reported, these drones were launched basically from places like Bryansk, Kursk, Milorovo. And what we also know is that at around 9:30, 65 Shahed attack drones were reportedly intercepted by Ukraine in Kiev, Kharkiv, Poltava, Sumy, Chernihiv, Kirovorad, Zaitomir, Dnipropetrovsk, Zaporizhia, Mykolaiv, Odessa, Kherson Oblast. As a result of the attack by Russian UAVs, buildings belonging to private businesses, infrastructure facilities, apartment blocks as well as houses were damaged. Reports saying that there were no fatalities and the people who were affected by the attack are being treated. The Russian military admitted, meanwhile, attacking multiple Ukrainian targets, including fuel depots, military airfields, drone assembly and storage facilities. What we are seeing basically is Russia intensifying its air war in Ukraine. Russian military drones are swarming the skies over Ukraine's frontline cities, cities like Kharkiv that was attacked overnight. You see, over the last 6 months, Russia's drone attacks have increased. According to the latest reports, there were around 400 drone attacks last May. By November, more than 2,400 were reported. And in December, there have been at least 1,700 drone strikes so far in December. And while the Russian aerial attacks continue, Russia continues to expand its drone production. In fact, according to recent reports, Russia's secretive drone factory in Alabuga has significantly scaled up its production of Iranian-designed attack and surveillance drones. Alabuga has reportedly become the main drone plant for producing the Shahed 136 drone, or Giran-2, as Russia refers to it, with an agreement to produce 6,000 units by September 2025. And by the way, they are moving fast. War analysts and experts have noted that the pace at which drones are being manufactured from this plant has increased. As far as the front line is concerned, Russia controls a little under 19% of Ukraine, including the Crimean Peninsula and parts of Luhansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhia, and Kherson, which was unilaterally annexed by Russia in 2022. Meanwhile, Ukraine controls a slither of the Russian border region of Kursk. All this as US President Donald Trump continues to make promises to end the war, even with Putin and Zelensky finally showing interest in talks. There are many stumbling blocks. Russia has said it does not want NATO forces near Russian troops in occupied Ukraine, while Ukraine is unlikely to give up land currently not under Russian control, which basically includes much of the 4 regions that Putin is claiming. Kiev has also demanded security guarantees from the US, saying that European assurances alone are not enough. The Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has called on Donald Trump to give Ukraine more weapons, but in the form of loans. Others have suggested Trump backs the transfer of roughly $300 billion in frozen Russian assets so that Ukraine can arm itself. In the meantime, Russian forces continue to creep forward in eastern Ukraine. These are likely to be the most contentious issues. And with the way things stand right now, we are well beyond the 24 hours that Donald Trump had promised that it would take for him to secure an end to the war. Both sides may agree, but it's not clear if they're even going to play ball. now shift our attention to West Asia. Palestinians returning to North Gaza after 15 months of the war are finding that their homes have been turned to rubble. Things around them destroyed. Many of them arrived in Gaza on foot, exhausted and staring at a rather uncertain future. Many said they will spend the night sleeping on the streets as they have nowhere to go, or they simply cannot continue walking further.
Look at this scene. There's nothing to say. People will sleep on the ground. There's nothing left. One will have to lie on the ground to sleep. I swear, I think I will sleep on the ground. I'm exhausted. I can't anymore. I can't continue.
And some were also waiting for family members they lost among the crowds on the way, unable to find a way to communicate with them.
I was with my family and we walked from before Nusairat. While passing by Wadi, we got separated. I've been walking ever since, unable even to get a drink of water. My crutches broke and I had to tie them with a rope. Our life is tragic. We could hardly believe we were finally arriving home, only to be separated again. I don't know where to go, where to spend the night, or what to do. We no longer know anything.
Thousands of Palestinians could be seen returning to northern Gaza after months of living in temporary shelter, fearing what might remain of their homes amid the ruins.
I previously escaped from the north to the south. Now returning from the south to the north feels just like fleeing again. My house has been destroyed and the homes of my relatives have been completely destroyed as well. I've been carrying a tent, traveling from south to north. There's no other place to take shelter. So I set up the tent wherever I can, on the streets along the way.
For many Palestinians, the ceasefire was also an opportunity to reunite with their loved ones.
I am very happy. I'm very happy that I've come back and seen my family, my mother and all my sisters. Thank God. Tears of joy. They are tears of joy.
Around 650,000 Palestinians were reportedly displaced from northern Gaza during the war. Hamas said that more than 300,000 people have crossed into northern Gaza and they need at least 135,000 tents and shelters as they try to re-establish their lives. According to the UN, it might take 21 years and cost up to $1.2 billion to remove more than 50 million tons of rubble from Gaza. For thousands of Gazans, a long road lies ahead towards normalcy. Is Israel secretly sending captured Hezbollah weapons to Ukraine? It seems there are indications that it might be. However, Israel has officially denied any such actions. Recently, reports emerged that suggested that Israel could have been transferring seized Russian weapons from Lebanon to Ukraine. But Israel's ambassador to Ukraine, Michael Brodsky, has firmly denied it. During an interview with Radio Liberty, Brodsky said that no such decision has been made. So how exactly did these reports even come about? Brodsky says that Israel's Deputy Foreign Minister, Sharon Haskel, when she was a member of the parliament, Israel's parliament, had proposed a bill to transfer seized Russian-made weapons to Ukraine. Yet, as the saying goes, where there's smoke, there might be fire. There are signs pointing to the possibility that such a transfer is indeed taking place. Reports suggesting that Israel has been quietly sending Russian-made weapons to Ukraine that were seized during its war with Hezbollah in Lebanon last year. In fact, Israeli officials have reportedly met with Ukrainian diplomats to discuss this potential arms transfer. Since then, US military cargo planes have been seen making flights from Israel to an airbase in eastern Poland. Pro-Russian military bloggers have also shared photos on social media showing several shoulder-mounted missiles laid out on the ground. They also posted screenshots of a US military plane departing from the Ramstein Air Base in Germany, landing at Hadzerim Air Base in Israel, and then heading to a place in Poland called Rzeszów, which lies close to the border with Ukraine. Now, here's a key point to consider. Around 60% of the weapons captured by Israel during its conflict with Hezbollah were reportedly produced in the Soviet Union. The weapons in question include sniper rifles, modern Kornet anti-tank missiles. These are weapons that were provided to Hezbollah by Syria, which used to be a strong ally of Russia under Bashar al-Assad's regime. Now, this development also follows a statement from the Ukrainian embassy thanking Israel's Deputy Foreign Minister, Sharon Haskel, for her efforts to persuade the Israeli parliament and send captured weapons to Ukraine. According to the Jerusalem Post, the weapons transfer proposal was first privately initiated by Haskel. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky had also met with his Israeli counterpart, reportedly Isaac Herzog, this week to discuss important issues related to cooperation between Ukraine and Israel. Now, if Israel is in fact sending these confiscated weapons to Ukraine, it should not come as a surprise. Historically, Israel has maintained a neutral stance towards Russia, but it has become more aligned with Ukraine as Russia and Iran have strengthened ties. Over the past 3 years, Iran has become a major ally of Russia. It is accused, in fact, of supplying Moscow with thousands of drones and missiles that have been used reportedly against Ukraine in the battlefield. And if that wasn't enough, Iran has also supported armed groups like Hamas and Hezbollah that have declared that their goal is to destroy the state of Israel. And we all know how Israel and Iran's conflict came to head last year amid the Gaza war. As the situation stands right now, there is a ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah. On Sunday, the United States, remember, announced that the ceasefire agreement would remain in effect until February 18. But Israel has already indicated it would keep troops in the south beyond the initial Sunday deadline. And for these reasons and more, a transfer of Russian weapons is currently the most feasible explanation to the recent aircraft flights to eastern Poland. President Donald Trump, meanwhile, signed an executive order to develop a next-generation missile defense shield for the United States, modeled after Israel's Iron Dome. But this time, the vision extends beyond Earth and into space. Our next report telling you more.
The world is increasingly becoming a dangerous place. New deadly missiles are being designed and deployed. The Russians, the Chinese, the North Koreans and the Iranians, they're all expanding their arsenals. Hypersonic missiles are becoming the most sought-after weapons. These weapons can maneuver at 5 times the speed of sound while changing trajectory unpredictably. The traditional missile defense systems designed for predictable ballistic trajectories stand powerless against these new threats. Donald Trump has unveiled an ambitious project that aims to protect the US against the evolving threats of ballistic, hypersonic and advanced cruise missiles.
And in a little while, I'll be signing 4 new executive orders. First is that I'm directing our new Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, who's going to be great, by the way. Thank you for the support. Thank you very much for the support. You really did support him greatly. I think he's going to be fantastic. I know him very well. I think he's going to be fantastic. He's what we need. to immediately begin the construction of a state-of-the-art Iron Dome missile defense shield, which will be able to protect Americans. You know, we protect other countries, but we don't protect ourselves.
Unlike conventional ground-based systems, this new shield will have a constellation of orbital interceptors capable of detecting and neutralizing threats during their vulnerable boost phase. The strategy marks a paradigm shift in missile defense, targeting hypersonic weapons when they're most exposed, before they can execute evasive maneuvers. The scale is staggering. While Israel's Iron Dome protects a nation roughly the size of New Jersey, America's Space Shield must defend a continent. The technical challenges are unprecedented, maintaining constant orbital coverage, achieving split-second response times, and intercepting threats traveling at Mach 5 plus speeds. Currently, the US relies on a layered defense network that includes THAAD, Aegis, and Patriot systems. Together, these systems protect against ballistic and hypersonic missile threats. However, experts warn they may not be enough to counter emerging technologies and long-range missile strikes, particularly ICBMs armed with nuclear warheads. The strategic calculus is clear. US missile defense capabilities, while sophisticated, were designed for a different era. The Trump administration has revealed few details about the new missile defense system and how the plan would be executed. Building such a protective layer around the US would have an astronomical cost. But given the changing nature of threats, the US is preparing for the wars of tomorrow. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Our next story comes with far-reaching implications. Israeli police and the Shin Bet Security Service have reportedly arrested 2 IDF reservists, accusing them of selling critical military intelligence to Iranian handlers for financial gains, raising serious questions about Israel's national security and the extent of Iranian infiltration. The primary suspect, a former member of Israel's Iron Dome missile defense unit, allegedly handed over highly classified information, including a video showcasing the Iron defense system in action, after establishing contact with an Iranian handler in September last year. And you see, the timing is absolutely critical. On October 1, Iran launched a massive ballistic missile attack against Israel, firing over 180 missiles, several of which reportedly hit air bases and other sensitive sites. Could the stolen intel have played a role in that attack? Especially since it is pertaining to the Iron Dome, Israel's main defense against such missile attacks, which was found to be vulnerable in the Iranian attack. According to reports, the IDF reservist was not working alone. The main suspect also recruited a friend to assist in the espionage scheme, reportedly. The main suspect reportedly received $2,500 from the Iranian agent, while his friend was compensated a mere $50. Israeli law enforcement officials filed charges against both suspects, accusing them of serious offenses, including contacting a foreign agent, transferring classified information, and aiding the enemy during wartime. According to reports, the primary suspect initially sought financial opportunities and stumbled upon the Iranian handler. And from there, he allegedly engaged in pro-Iranian activities, like spray painting slogans like, quote-unquote, "Children of Ruhollah" in Tel Aviv, reportedly referring to Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, Iran's first supreme leader. In fact, he then showed this graffiti reportedly to his friend at the IDF's Kiryat military headquarters, convincing him to join as an accomplice. though the friend ultimately withdrew out of fear. Over the past 2 years, Iran has intensified efforts to recruit ordinary Israelis as spies, often targeting them with financial incentives. Last month itself, nearly 30 Israeli citizens were arrested for similar espionage activities, reportedly, many starting with seemingly minor tasks that escalated into intelligence gathering and even assassination plots. Israel now faces the challenge of fortifying its internal security and uncovering further vulnerabilities. The question is, how will Israel dismantle such espionage networks? 7 individuals were caught in October for allegedly collecting information on IDF bases like Nevatim and Ramat David, which were later targeted by Iran and Hezbollah. As per reports, Iran's espionage network is evolving and its reach is deeper than ever. On to India now, specifically news from Tamil Nadu, where the National Investigation Agency, or the NIA, carried out searches at a total of 16 locations in the state in connection to an ISIS radicalization case. 2 people have been arrested in these raids so far, reportedly, which have been underway since early Tuesday, based on specific inputs. But why are these raids taking place exactly? The raids have reportedly been conducted at the hideouts of suspects allegedly involved in promoting ISIS ideology and recruiting members for the foreign terrorist organization. However, this is not new per se, as across India, the NIA has been actively investigating cases of radicalization and recruitment linked to ISIS. As far as this case is concerned, it has been registered just last year against ISIS supporters whose role was uncovered during an investigation. And what's more, on October 21, 2024, the NIA arrested 3 accused who were booked in a case linked to a 2022 car bomb blast outside a temple in Coimbatore. And not just ISIS. A month before, in September 2024, the NIA reportedly conducted searches at 11 locations across Tamil Nadu as part of its probe against the Hizb ut-Tahrir, a pan-Islamist organization aspiring to establish an Islamic caliphate in the country. Also back in June, 2 men associated with the fundamentalist organization were arrested in connection with another case. And in August, the NIA conducted searches across 7 states to probe the case of classified defense information leakage through a Pakistani espionage racket, as per an official statement. NIA raids, by the way, are also on in Kashmir in connection with an ongoing terror conspiracy investigation, with the case centered on the killings in Srinagar. Shifting focus for now, in the carefully choreographed theater of White House imagery, Melania Trump's new official portrait emerged as a masterpiece of visual politics in a way. Our next report, looking at how the former model turned First Lady has traded her signature soft glamour for something far more potent. That's raw power. Take a look.
She stands still, commanding, unflinching. Melania Trump's new official portrait is more than a photograph. It's a declaration. Stripped of color, the monochrome image speaks in shadows and light, echoing the complexities of the First Lady's persona. In the portrait, power and elegance, where every detail feels deliberate and every glance is calculated. Standing in the yellow Oval Room, Melania commands attention in a crisp dark suit, with the Washington Monument visible through the window. The contrast with the 2017 portrait couldn't be starker, where once she offered approachability with soft focus and warm colors. Now she presents steel. Her sartorial choices remain as as calculated as ever. Last week, she returned to Washington DC in style. At the inaugural balls, she dazzled in a black and white gown by Hervé Pierre, a nod to glamour and simplicity. During the inauguration day, she donned a wide-brimmed hat, almost as a shield, adding a layer of mystique to her presence. Melania's fashion history is not without controversy. This image from 2018, her infamous "I really don't care, do you?" jacket, drew global backlash. Her choice of dressing has always made headlines. In 2017, standing beside her husband during her first term swearing in, her powder blue Ralph Lauren suit was very evocative of a Jackie Kennedy suit and seemed to suggest that she had studied the role of the First Lady. Now in her second term as the First Lady, photographers would continue to zoom and capture the enigma of Melania 2.0. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Shifting focus for now, in a major announcement, the Taliban administration has conditionally agreed to allow Afghan women to pursue higher education in Pakistan. But in order to do so, they need to be accompanied by male guardians who have been granted visas. This move comes amid mounting international criticism of the Taliban's restrictions on women's rights, which the UN has condemned as gender apartheid. Recently, hundreds of Afghan students, in fact, took entrance exams for Pakistani universities, competing for spots in graduate, postgraduate, doctoral programs. Afghan refugees residing in Pakistan gave those exams in Peshawar and Quetta, while students in Afghanistan will take the exams online in the coming days. According to Pakistan's Special Envoy for Afghanistan, over 21,000 students, including over 5,000 women, applied for scholarships under the fully funded Allama Iqbal Scholarship Program. Pakistan's Higher Education Commission will choose up to 2,000 students. One-third of the spots are reserved for women. The scholarship initiative, aimed at strengthening ties between Pakistan and Afghanistan, focuses on education in fields like medicine, engineering, and computer science. It had previously been disrupted after the Taliban regained power in 2021, banning education for girls past grade 6 and restricting women from traveling without male companions. The Taliban claimed that their policies were compliant with Islamic law and Afghan culture, even as the international community called for policy reversals. The latest decision by the Taliban administration to allow women to study in Pakistan marks a significant shift in their stance on women's education. According to reports, despite bilateral tensions between the two countries over cross-border terrorist attacks, both countries are working to foster cooperation in education, trade, and other areas with the hope of improving bilateral ties. Our next story is from South Africa, but before we go any further, here's a question. How depraved can men really get? And the reason why that question is being asked is because months after South African authorities had cut off food and water supplies to miners reportedly working illegally in an abandoned gold mine, rescuers brought out at least 78 corpses and 246 survivors, and they were found in a deplorable state. Our correspondent, Calvin Ongmu, getting you this ground report from Johannesburg.
Miners trapped underground, surviving impossible conditions, left with no food to eat or water to drink for months on end. They are starved out, weakened to their core, reduced to skeletal beings. But that's just half the horror in store, as some of them who were lucky to survive said. Few of their fellow workers, driven by hunger pangs, even resorted to cannibalism, which is basically feeding on human meat and flesh. That is how desperate these workers became just to stay alive. One of the lucky survivors in one of the disused mines in South Africa's northwest province is convinced that the South African police did not mean well when they cut off food and water supplies to the mine and were present there to actually kill them.
We did suffer because of Operation Palamkoti, because their intention was to kill us. It was not like they want us out of the mine. They were trying to kill us alive.
Illegal mining is common in parts of South Africa. Typically, undocumented miners known as Zamas move into mines abandoned by commercial miners and seek to extract whatever is left. The operation Vala Ngodi, meaning close the pit, was started last year in December by the police in Northwest Province and the surrounding mining locations to clamp down on illegal mining. This is one of the hundreds rescued from the abandoned mine, whose life has now come to a complete halt as he laments losing his only source of income.
I was being pulling out by the rope. Yeah, so when I arrived outside there were police officers surrounding me, searching me as if like I killed people down there. So I was very surprised that I'm hungry. I was fighting for my survival, for my life, but I'm being searched like I'm a criminal, like someone who killed so many people. Yeah. And I got arrested for 21 days.
However, the police always maintained that the illegal miners refused to come out of the mine fearing arrests and that no one was being trapped underground forcefully. But the civic groups blamed the government's refusal to stage a rescue operation sooner that led the miners to die either out of starvation or dehydration. Even as it is still unclear for how long did these miners actually remain underground, some have been reported to remain trapped for over 6 months, trapped for months without food. Some miners resorted to the extreme step of eating the dead bodies of their deceased friends.
We end up eating cockroach, other people end up eating the dead body of people. I swear. I can see a big
miners were eating other miners, like
other miners. Yeah, the corpses indeed.
Because why?
Because of there were no food. There were no food. We were struggling to eat. So at least you see this. There's something that I can eat. Even the leaves of the trees, if they were available in underground, we were going to eat them. We were eating everything that they think it was going to help us to get better in the stomach. Yeah, to get us alive.
After the rescue operation ended on January 15th, the police said that they will leave no stone unturned to locate the kingpin who managed to escape from the clutches of authorities. Meanwhile, extensive probes and tracing operations are underway to track those officials who aided in his escape. The alleged kingpin and ringleader is a Lesotho national, and according to records, his name is James Neo Tshoeli, but he is commonly known as Tiger. Notwithstanding the findings, this is a grave humanitarian crisis and casts fresh spotlight into the issue of illegal mining in Africa, one that comes with a human cost. But who is to be blamed? What can put an end to this for once and for all? Answers that hang in the air. Africa Bureau, WION, World is One.
Our next story is from India. It's about a mysterious illness in Jammu and Kashmir. Yes, a mysterious illness. Around 17 people, including 14 children, were reportedly killed by a mysterious disease in a village of Rajouri district there between December 8 to January 17. What is known about the mysterious disease? Why is it mysterious in the first place? What are the authorities saying? Let's break it all down for you. What is known is that earlier, over 200 individuals who came in contact with the affected families of the 17 people who died due to the illness in Rajouri were reportedly quarantined as a precautionary measure. In fact, top health officials reportedly identified a common factor among all those who lost their lives in the village. And what was that? The involvement of brain and nerve system. What has emerged now? Do we know more about the disease? Now, as it turns out, doctors have reportedly found the antidote for the poison that killed locals in the village of Rajouri district. Yes, an antidote for the poison. Analysis of samples from the victims reportedly suggested that the deaths had not been caused by viral or bacterial infection, although some neurotoxins were found in those samples. It was found that it was the organophosphorus group of poisons that had caused all the deaths. What exactly is the organophosphorus group of poisons? Organophosphorus compounds are basically used as pesticides and pose hazards to human health. In fact, on Sunday, the Food Safety Standards Authority of India reportedly conveyed to the Jammu and Kashmir Health Department that organophosphorus had been found and it was the reason behind the deaths. And the J&K police formed a special investigation team to investigate the deaths. So it has been found that the atropine antidote has worked well. Officials reportedly found insecticides in a spring where villagers drew water, and it has been sealed for investigation. The good part is that no fresh case has been reported from the village in the past 3 days. But a number of questions still remain. How did this even happen? What led to it? Are things under control now, or is there still cause for concern? Shifting focus for now, bird flu cases are on the rise worldwide. In the US, the virus has infected more than 900 herds and dozens of people, even killing one. The outbreak as of now showing no signs of abating, while in the latest, a new strain of bird flu has been confirmed at a duck farm in California, the first time the variant has been discovered in a poultry in the US. Meanwhile, the UK has confirmed its first human case of bird flu in 3 years. That involves a poultry worker in central England. Experts suggest containing the outbreak has become challenging, as the bird flu has now entered into a dangerous phase thanks to inadequate testing, ineffective guidelines, and significant delays in releasing data. But can it spark a human pandemic? According to the New York Times, some dairy herds in the US state of Idaho that were previously infected with bird flu in the spring have shown mild symptoms again in late fall, although the US Department of Agriculture reported no new infections in herds since October. In November last year, state officials publicly acknowledged milder cases, thus suggesting reinfections among the cattle. What explains this? As per a biologist at the University of Pennsylvania, the reinfection suggests that H5N1, also known as avian influenza, might circulate on farms indefinitely and may turn into a far more dangerous form, which could create a high-risk situation. So much so that rapid or easy detection of cases might be a real challenge, as per the expert. You see, as per reports, since January 2022, H5N1 bird flu has infected or killed more than 136 million birds in the US once it got detected in wild aquatic birds. Over the years, it infected about 940 people, while killing some those who had close contact with the infected birds. And now, UK's first case of bird-to-human transmission, which is being reported as a rare instance, has caused fresh panic. Moreover, the strain found in the infected person from the UK, the D1.2 genotype, differs from strains found in the US and Canada, where severe human cases were linked to a different genotype in 2024. With the bird flu virus evolving and proliferating in various parts of the world, the question is, does it risk causing another pandemic? You see, unlike COVID-19, influenza viruses typically begin in a specific animal species or region. However, scientists now say H5N1 is adapting to new mammal hosts. From animal to animal, it is now graduating to animal to human transmission, which might also cause human to human spread if it goes unchecked. So how can one protect themselves from contracting bird flu? The pro tip, as per experts, is to avoid any form of contact with sick or dead birds, as well as other animals who appear to be sick. And if one experiences flu-like symptoms, the wisest thing to do is to take no chances and get tested promptly. Seek medical advice on an immediate basis. Additionally, refraining from consuming raw milk or meat can also help reduce the risk of infection a great deal. Moving on for now, soft drinks giant Coca-Cola reportedly has recalled its beverages in some European countries after detecting high levels of the chemical chlorate. Exposure to high levels of the chemical compound can cause health issues, including thyroid problems, especially among children and babies. The soft drink firm reportedly said the recall has been focused on Luxembourg, Belgium, and the Netherlands. The majority of the unsold products have been withdrawn from shelves. The company's statement saying 5 product lines that were already shipped to Britain by December 2024 have been sold. High levels of chlorate were found during routine testing in Coca-Cola's production facility in northwest Belgium's Ghent. As per the Belgium branch of Coca-Cola's international bottling and distribution operation, the affected product brands include Coke, Sprite, Minute Maid, and Fanta. Chlorate derives from chlorine disinfectants widely used in water treatment and food processing. In a 2015 scientific opinion, the European Food Safety Authority said long-term exposure to chlorate posed a potential health concern for children, especially those with mild or moderate iodine deficiency. Coca-Cola reportedly has said that majority of the unsold products have been withdrawn from the shelves as it considers the safety of its products a top priority. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Gravitas tonight. We are taking a very short break at this point. This is me, Molly Gambhir, signing off. Thanks for watching. Know more, understand better, think ahead. Hello and a very warm welcome. You are watching Gravitas with me, Molly Gambhir. Get the facts, not the bombast. On the 26th of March, dynamic pricing, Baloch separatists, Gravitas cuts out the clutter. Gravitas keeps calm when others scream. Gravitas brings news to life. Weekdays, 9 p.m. IST, 3:30 p.m. GMT. Gravitas. Seeing is believing.
India's Budget 2025 is here. Will it fuel growth or deepen inflation's bite? Will it support the rupee and markets? From tax reforms to middle-class relief, we decode what's in it for you. Stay ahead with our expert analysis and global perspective.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker